Welcome to Barbados!
If you don't come to Barbados, it's up to you, bro.
Listen,
I am here.
Wouldn't Maya called me up and said, bro, have you heard about Barbados? I was like, we've heard about it. And I knew like it's in the Caribbean, but I knew nothing about the country. I think the Caribbean itself is more popular than the Caribbean islands, right? It's just like a lot of people know Africa, but they don't know like countries like Lesotho exist. So he was like, he wants me to come to Barbados. He got something to show me. I was like, ah! So I was actually on a series of trips, and at that point I was in Cairo. So I accepted to go on the trip because who says no to a new adventure, right? So I had to fly 5 hours from Cairo to London, and then 8 hours, 30 minutes from London to the Caribbean. The longest flight that I have been. I was so tired, but trust me, the minute I stepped my foot in Barbados, everything disappeared. Trust me.
I've never seen beaches so pristine like beaches in Barbados.
So it is my first time in Barbados. I don't know what to expect. I was just like, okay, I'm gonna go with the flow. I'm gonna trust Maya to show me something that I haven't seen it before.
Barbados is a paradise, and I feel like if you have not visited this place, it's about time for you to take that trip and make your dream a reality. But also, it's a way of connecting to your brothers and sisters who left the continent for a very long time.
Barbados is this destination that I used to see in movies, American movies. You could see people are going on holiday or on vacation to Barbados. Nice blue waters. And I was like, one day I want to visit Barbados. And I'm so glad because it's the first country I visited in the Caribbean. And I had a very nice welcome. In fact, when I got to Barbados the first time, the Prime Minister was outside the plane greeting people because I was in an inaugural flight to Barbados.
So we arrived Bridgetown, which is the capital city and also the most populated city in Barbados. It is located in the southeastern Caribbean Sea. So I was taken to my hotel, and I actually did stay at Hilton. This room, guys, cost $250 a night with just breakfast included. It was a decent room overlooking the ocean, which was very nice. Hilton is a 4-star. If you want to do 5-star, you're even looking at like what, $700,000 a night. Anything decent usually will start from $150 a night. But yeah, a lot of people would say the Caribbean, Barbados specifically, I mean, it's one of the most expensive, right? A lot of blog articles suggest you should have at least $375 a day, inclusive of your accommodation per day, if you want to have the best time in the country. But then you might ask yourself, what really makes this country very expensive?
Since the island's country's independence in 1966, the economy of Barbados has transformed from a low-income economy dependent upon sugar production into a high-income economy based on tourism and the offshore sector.
Well, a lot of people say that Barbados is an expensive destination, but nothing good is cheap, really. What makes Barbados expensive, I think we look at cost of accommodation. I think that's the most expensive thing in Barbados. But transportation, you can use public transport. I can see it's more expensive than the rest of the Caribbean. Generally, a lot of the Caribbean countries are quite pricey, but it's because most of these countries, the main thing they offer the economy is tourism. Despite the fact that it's expensive, you'll enjoy the experience.
After living in Barbados for 10 days, I would say that this is one of the most expensive countries to live in.
Sure.
We have no natural resources at all like some of the other islands, but we have always been the most stable of the Caribbean islands.
$1 is 2 Barbados dollars. Why do you think their currency is so strong?
I think the economy is well managed. If your economy is well managed, it's the exchange rate will expose you.
For like a 5-minute or 10-minute taxi ride, you can pay as high as $15. Just make sure you keep your pockets packed when you're visiting Barbados.
Because we don't just do tourism by itself, but we do tourism and culture. And that is what makes us unique. that when you come to Barbados, you are immersed in a full cultural experience. Plenty parties. We're in the middle of Cropover, but it's the season of emancipation, so you could be going to a party one night and then the next day get up and you're going on a hike to look at, Amerindian burial grounds.
Yeah.
That's a level of experience you're going to have here in Barbados when you come at this particular time. Yeah, full cultural immersion.
Tell me one thing about Barbados, man.
Everybody love everybody.
Oh, really?
Enough respect in
Well,
Barbados.
you tell me the girls are pretty here.
Always pretty, man. Always enough love.
When you go Cropover, you're going to see more pretty girls.
All right. I'm gonna see the Caribbean girls, eh?
And girls with big bumper. Don't forget that.
Do they all have big bumper, man?
Of course, if you don't have a bumper, you're not a Bajan.
Hey!
Long time we not a nice time, so we decide to go and play the club tonight. With the queen by my side and the split for life. The stress build up inside now seems so light. Like fresh cut, face shave, just bathe. And me babe, she a put on a dress and a makeup. Just be impressed our best self and bless our dreams be manifesting, yeah.
But I came during the festive period specifically for the most popular event called the Cropover.
There's possibly no better way of experiencing the vibrant Caribbean culture than by attending the carnival, and each island has its own sense of style. Every August, Barbados will light up its streets with their own version called Cropover.
The best time to visit this place is actually during the Cropover, because you'll feel like a kid in a candy shop. In terms of living in Africa, you'll see something you've never seen before. Let me put it that way.
So this year's edition, they're celebrating 50th anniversary of the Cropover. It's like a long week of like back-to-back events, concerts, street parties here and there, leading up to the main day, which is like the main carnival. Ira Star, the popular Afrobeat Nigerian artist, was on there. And of course, Riri, people from all over the world. Trust me, guys. I have been to a few carnivals here and there, but I have never seen anything like this.
The Cropover Summer Festival is Barbados' most popular and colorful festival. Its origin can be traced back to the 1780s, a time when Barbados was the world's largest producer of sugar.
During the time when people were enslaved there, so at the end of the harvest season, they would be given a day to just celebrate and all that. It was actually a celebration of the end of the harvest season, Cropover.
And now it attracts thousands of people from around the globe.
The street is filled with colorful parades, elaborate outfits, calypso music, and of course, lots of big... Sorry, I didn't say that, but yeah. When I got into the Caribbean, I was kind of like saying, yo, man, these people are far away from Jesus. But then I was like, this is pretty much their culture. Just like I was in Namibia and I got to learn about the Himba tribe, how, how they live their life. So I was like, these people have been doing this for 50 years. Their great-grandfather did it, their grandfather did it. If you have never been to the Caribbean or understand how the Caribbean tradition is, you might want to try to judge them, but just understand this is their tradition and this is what they're used to.
I've learned that over history, their costumes and the outfits have changed, and younger people want to do it in a way that's pleasing to them. So I love how people are free to express themselves with no judgment. I know from Africa, and based on some videos that I did, people are like, oh, world nakedness and all that, but it's their culture. They're expressing themselves in a way that they feel is best. And one thing about Cropover, you'll not hear incidents of like sexual harassment and things like that. People need to get over that mindset of seeing women as like, when you see a woman in a bikini or an outfit, you think you have rights to that. In Barbados, during Cropover, they respect that. No one is going to harass you. No one is going to touch you inappropriately.
The final day is here for the final festival, and this is what we all have been waiting for, the 50th anniversary of Cropover 2024. And as an African, I'm here to have fun and enjoy. Come along.
Yeah, man, I don't really know what I'm expecting, but I guess it's gonna be fun.
That's all I will say. But I think for us, it's the Bajan culture. It's who they are, and so we embrace it. It's totally diversified from the African culture, which we know. But I think that it was an eye-opener for me. I liked it. I liked every bit of the Cropover. I liked the different bands that displayed, 16 bands displayed. It was a dashing splash of colors. It was well worth it, and the experience was worth every penny.
Before I go ahead to tell you all of the most touristic things you can do in Barbados, I do have a travel guide that I always create when I visit these countries. So it's like a map, right? Every single thing that I have done and all the contacts that I have gotten on the island, you're going to find everything right there on the travel guide, and also my suggested itinerary for you if you're visiting during the festive season or non-festive season, accommodation options, all of this kind of information you do need as a tourist to have the best possible time in the country. They're on there in the travel guide. I created it after traveling through the country for about 12 days, and it's going to be very helpful to you if you want to visit Barbados. The first 20 or 30% would probably get it for free, so look at the description of this video. You're going to see the link. Go ahead and download the travel guide that will show you how to navigate Barbados as a tourist.
Welcome to Barbados!
So the Caribbean is actually the 6th region of Africa. We have the north, south, east, west, and the Caribbean is the 6th region, because when you come in here, we got the same similarities, same culture in the Caribbean. I think the first similarities that you're gonna see in here is their facial features. I mean, they're black people, they look like us. I mean, even the way they live in here is just like the way we build in West Africa. What we have in common in terms of similarities, we got same names, we also got similar food. In Ghana, we have a food called banku, which is made out of corn flour, and in Barbados, they got something we call kuku, and I feel like the name kuku came from the word banku because it's exactly the same meal that they eat in here. The only difference is that whenever you try eating it with your hand in here, they kind of be like, no way, but hey, I think that is the culture that they lost.
I'm initiated into IFA.
IFA.
Fully initiated into IFA. And so, but my name is Tifa Shea, and was given to me by a Babalawo from Nigeria, from Ode Remo.
You are 100% African in the Caribbean.
100% African.
Yeah.
I would not deny that heritage.
Barbados is the most beautiful place, and there's no other place like it. And look at the shades of the individuals. Our history is something that makes us who we are.
Yeah.
Dr. Watson.
All right.
So back in the 17th century, where slave trade was more like a big thing, more Africans around the west coast of Africa were captured and enslaved and brought to the Caribbean.
It is estimated that between the 1620 and the 1800, over 370,000 enslaved Africans were brought to Barbados. They were taken from their homes in West Africa, endured a brutal voyage across the Atlantic, and were forced to work on the island's many sugar plantations under horrendous conditions.
So they were taken to work in farms in Barbados. Barbados is one of the countries that was used as a sugarcane plantation. So they had lots of sugarcane being produced and sold to Europe and other parts of the world.
That is why you can see so many Africans in this part of the world.
If you do DNA tests, you'll find a lot of them will trace their roots back to Africa.
There's a season of emancipation actually. It's like a public holiday in the country. A time for reflection, education, and celebration commemorating the end of slave trade on the island. Sort of like a remembrance for the past heroes, where you get to learn about the history of the Caribbean and how most of these African descent found their way to the island. Actually, we went to a place in the city centers, like you got like brick walls on there, and then you're going to see names of people that had lived or that fought for the freedom of Barbados. And guess what? You're going to find some Nigerian names on there. You're going to find some Ghanaian names on there. People from Ivory Coast. I even saw my name. But a lot of people that was on the tour, they did see their name on there. All of the names, these people helped build Barbados. All these names that you see right here. I have seen Adekunle, Adeshino, Abels are all like Nigerian names. And a lot more, like thousands and thousands of names. Look at these guys.
If you find your name here, you get a free passport to Barbados.
Why?
Because your grandfather helped develop this country.
So, have you seen your name so far?
I've seen my friend's name, but he's not here, so he doesn't qualify for the passport.
Have you found your name here?
Yes, my maiden name is here.
Where's the name?
Maiden name, here it is.
That's my maiden name, Alcock.
Wow.
There! Marsha!
It's here! I found it!
Somebody put it in there!
And that is to tell you that the Caribbean is another region of Africa.
Here we are at the National Hero Square in the center of the city of Bridgetown in Barbados. And this square was plagued with atrocities in the early years. Some terrible things happened here in that there were public beatings happening here, there were public hangings happening here, as well as it is said that the slave block was also set up here, where Africans and other people coming into Barbados against their will were sold at this spot, especially African Ghanaians and Nigerians particularly, because they were the majority of the people who came here. It is really a representation, a celebration of the freedom of the people of Barbados, freedom from slavery and the shackles that kept us enslaved. As you will look here, you'll see the shackles are attached by chains to what we figure are people, the people who were brought here, and the shackles are now open, signifying freedom.
Welcome to Barbados! So I'm going to talk a little bit about the things you can do when you're visiting Barbados, right? So if you don't find yourself in the festive season where you're going to attend all of the parties and the Cropover, these are a few things you can do whilst you're in Barbados. And the first would be the Harrison Cave. It is considered as one of the 7 wonders of Barbados. It's the most popular place you can visit when you're in the island.
It is an amazing gallery of stalactites hanging from the roof of the cave and stalagmites that emerge from the ground, with streams of crystal clear running water that drops from the breathtaking waterfall to form a deep emerald pool.
I don't know, it's just a cave that's so beautiful and it has a lot of history on the formation and all that. I think it's one of the places that looks so unreal that everybody should experience.
Over 1 million people have been in this cave since it was open to the public.
They were formed over thousands of years ago, and in some places, the stalagmites have reached down to the stalagmite and a spectacular pillar has been formed. You would get into an electric tram with a tour guide down into the cave.
I don't remember how many meters below sea level we went into, but trust me, it seems like we went into another world entirely. Then we had a tour guide that was trying to explain the history, and most importantly, the person, I think there were 2 persons that discovered this cave, and now it's like a national treasure. It's the most touristic thing you can do and considered one of the 7 wonders of Barbados.
For those adrenaline junkies, we're currently at the Harrison's Cave, and there's so much to do. You have obstacle courses, you have the cave which you would go through to see everything that happened and how the cave came about, pretty much the history of Barbados. Somebody just ziplined behind us right now, and that's a real adventure for those people who are adrenaline junkies. Barbados is a destination that caters from cradle to grave.
Do you feel
for the young and for the old? There's something for everybody to do in Barbados.
When people visit Barbados, what I would advise, make sure you do an island tour. It's not a very big island, so you can go through the entire island in at least a day.
Look here at the architecture of the old structures that used to be here. The chattel houses here, like this house, is where Black Barbadians after emancipation would have built houses like this and lived on different lands. So you had wooden houses that were easily moved and they were called chattel, just like the people themselves during enslavement were called chattel because the type of slavery was called chattel slavery. Easy to get rid of, easy to sell, easy to get rid of them.
You can move it as well, yeah?
Move, yes.
Of course, there's no way you're going to come to an island, and especially one like Barbados, that you're not going to go on some sort of like catamaran cruise.
And we're about to experience this sea, you know, I mean, this is called sea experience.
We're about to go on a catamaran. I've gone to quite a number of catamarans. I'm just here to soak up the experience and what the Barbados version would offer to me. And I'll be going on this catamaran with quite a number of friends from Ghana, from Barbados, and also a few from Nigeria as well. So catamaran cruises are very popular here in the island. It allows you to sail through the coast, enjoy beautiful music, of course absorb the air. Look at this air, it's very fresh, and just have a good time with friends and family. It's also a great opportunity for you as well if you want to go snorkeling if you want to go deep sea diving as well, all of those can be arranged for you. And of course, I'm going to leave more details either in the description or in my travel guide somewhere. You're going to see where to book it and what the experience is like.
This is the place to be, island life. Free. I would invite anybody to come to Barbados not because I live here, because it is safe, because we are very caring people, and tourism is the first industry, only industry that we have mostly.
For real?
Yeah, tourism is the only industry we mostly have. We have rum and sugar, but tourism puts the food on the table.
And I called a friend and I was trying to make a joke. We went to a place called Rihanna's Drive. On that street, you're going to see a house where Rihanna grew up in. Rihanna is like one of the icons in the country. Everybody looks up to her. Everybody there is proud of her. And actually, she was at the Cropover as well.
That's the house that she grew up in as a little girl, yes. It's a privately owned home. And the owner rents it out as an Airbnb. It's a typical bungalow style house that you would find in most communities, small communities in Barbados.
This gap used to be named Westbury Gap. No, it's renamed after our very own Rihanna. This is the house where she was born and raised in for her mom and the rest of the family.
And it's just very interesting to see that it is now like a tourist attraction, right? We saw a house and a lot of tourists were on there taking photos, posting on the internet, sending to their friends. And I was just laughing like, anything could be tourism. All you just have to do is put a story to it, put some marketing budget to it, put some entry ticket to it, create an Instagram page, and that's it. You're going to sell.
Rihanna, she's a star, man.
Star, yeah. International. You guys, all of you are proud of her.
Of course. I'm proud of doing great.
Yeah.
Barbados is the country that invented rum. The first rum in the world was made in Barbados, Mount Gay rum.
Barbados also do produce their own version of rum. I found it very common in island countries because when I was in Seychelles, they had their own rum. In Mauritius, they had their own rum. And right now, I am in Barbados. They've got their own rum.
St. Nicholas Abbey is also a place to check out while you're on the island. It is located in the parish of St. Peter's and was built in 1660. It is one of the only 3 genuine Jacobean mansions in the Western Hemisphere.
And the house was completed by 1658, making it over 350 years. On this plantation had more than 300 enslaved. They lived on the outskirts. The house is open to the public since 1980, but this is where, the owners would have been, but most of them had local families living in the house, and they would pretty much come down from time to time to see how business was going.
I know you guys are not going to ever sell this, but what do you think is the worth of this property right now?
I don't know.
The older it is, the more expensive.
Yeah, it is 400 acres. It's 400 acres. That's a lot of land.
That's a lot of land.
That's a lot.
What really brought me here was to see how they produce their rum. And I heard it's like a boutique rum distillery. They only produce a certain numbers of bottles, and that is it.
Complimentary guided tours of the Great House showcasing the wealth of tradition, including the antiques and artifacts spanning the home's 350 years history.
We're the only distillery that make our rum from cane syrup. The others make their rum from molasses. Rum from cane syrup smells sweeter, tastes sweeter. That's production there. Actually, we're going to go through there. Everything that's labeled St. Nicholas Abbey is done right here by hand.
By hand?
By hand before it goes up to our shop or before we export.
They still got other rum distillery like the Four Square and Mount Gay here on the island.
Production. So that's where we sanitize our bottle. This is where we bottle the rum. This is our bottle before we bottle and label. It has the image of the house and blasted on front and side. Now, if you have a company and you want your company logo, guys, we lose the back label and we can put your company logo with a little message.
For an extra cost.
My boss would do that in his office. You can actually bottle, seal, and label and everything in a day. It depends on how much rums, we have. So this one will be 450 Barbados.
Wow, it's not cheap, huh?
You can also buy souvenirs if you choose. I tasted a lot of rum and it was not much longer before I started seeing double.
They speak English but with Bajan accent, and then there's some phrases that only Bajans would understand. For instance, they can say, Aiza Bajan, meaning I am a Bajan. What going on? What's going on?
Your name is?
My name is Steven.
Steven.
Yeah.
Proper English, we would say Steven.
Yeah.
Why are you looking at me? That's proper English. In Barbados, we would say, what are you looking at me for? Barbadians like to tell you, you're too nosy.
You're too nosy.
You're malicious. Barbados is 100% safe. If you break down with your car, I dare you, you will find 10 or 15 Barbadians stopping on the road. People will stop on the road and say, do you want some help?
Oh, really?
Yes. Yes, Barbadians are very caring. They will look after you, and not because you're a tourist, because you're a human.
Oh,
we are very humane in this country.
Yeah.
So I've also heard of incidents where people misplace or lose something and they still get it back. So that's my favorite thing about Barbados, how they treat us tourists, how they welcome us. They're so friendly.
Girls in Barbados, we have pretty girls, shaped well.
Okay. Are they on the beach? I'm going to go to the beach today.
Of course. You will find a Bajan gal.
Okay, let's
Barbados is actually 3,000 miles from Africa, but we don't have a direct flight.
From Africa.
So you will have to take a flight to England and then come here. But nevertheless, far distance relationship will suit you.
Yeah.
Come on, man. When I was coming in here, I had to sit in a plane for over 27 hours, which I think is ridiculous. Come on.
Actually, there is no flight right now that comes from Africa. You'd have to go to Europe, the UK, Canada, or America before you come to the Caribbean.
Traveling from Africa to the Caribbean is visa-free, but you cannot just make it just like that. You have to go to UK, US, or Canada in order for you to get to the Caribbean. And I feel like that is a major challenge, and that is why I decided to organize a chartered flight that will be moving from Africa to the Caribbean so that we can connect ourselves easily.
So Adansi Travels, in collaboration with BTMI, which is the tourism board in Barbados, they are organizing a trip, and I'm going to allow them to tell you about the trip.
So one of the key challenges in Africa coming to the Caribbean has been the connectivity, the visa, transit visa, long travel hours, and we are cutting that short. And we do this by a charter flight, and this flight is being done from Accra to Barbados, and we are getting people from Nigeria, from Cameroon, from Kenya, all over. And so we just have to fly into Accra and connect 8 hours straight away to Barbados. No visa is needed, and can connect from here to other Caribbean islands.
So I'm going to leave the contact details below if you want to join the trip, you want to come, enjoy, and learn the rich history of Barbados right here in the Caribbean island. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was very educational. You learned a lot. And please subscribe to the channel, because we also have our travel episodes coming from Egypt, coming from Morocco, South Africa. Make sure you stay glued, and I'll see you. For now, I just want to walk around the beach, enjoy the weather here, pull up my shirt, get into the ocean, into the Caribbean Ocean, and enjoy myself while I'm here in the island. I'll see you guys in the next one.